feel really good to use.
Yeah, but anyway, this is not a clear game. This is a fog game. We're gonna see Maps playing Zawan in the pink here up against Tenri playing, or Tenri being played by Derrick in the blue. Sorry.
Derek kind of on a roll, like spamming Tenri on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Tenri is really strong in general, but also in fog. Just being able to like pull a unit from your pocket on any side of the map, really. And has some really unique things. You could build a unit, not reveal it at all, and then just use Tenri Groove to pull it into the fight. Of course, you
Yeah.
know, she has some cheese on this map too. You could throw a Kraken in the middle if you wanted to.
Oh, that might be the idea, actually. Oh, and it's gonna be hard to dislodge it from these reef tiles.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
no.
Although we've said all this stuff about Krakens, I actually don't know if they're even allowed on this map, so it could just be their hard banned.
Yeah, there is some flames on the port.
Yeah, but there's fire on lots of different buildings, so I wonder if it's just a stylistic choice. That
Yeah,
one up
maybe
here
it's
actually has
just
a.
because it's fog, so just have some lighting.
Yeah, I actually see like there's a fire sticking out of a well there, which is a little awkward. Don't know why you would want to do that, but maybe there's
I
cultural
mean,
significance to that one. Who knows?
it's less of a fire hazard if it's right above the well, right?
Yeah, that is true actually. If you wanted a safe place to put a fire, I guess surrounded by water is definitely a option. Ooh, Maps just being very bold there, just saying, I'm okay losing my sword, I just want a bunch of information.
Yep.
Uh,
And also gonna hold the village for a turn. We'll lose a sword for it, which, is not ideal. But the game is only beginning, so we'll see.
yeah, and actually Fog's an interesting one because in clear, we'll say, in clear vision maps, you really don't ever want to lose units for free, right? Like, free dudes is like a bad thing, right? Like, whereas in Fog, it's actually not the end of the world to go down 1 or 2 units because you can make that up later on. Having vision and information is actually really valuable. Potentially more valuable than like one sword, for example. It is going to be an issue here just because there's very limited amounts of defense right now. But knowing
Yeah.
that there isn't like anti-air at all, and like what types of units are up in the top right, I guess it's kind of early, so you're not going to know too much anyway. Or you're not really going to see those kinds of units that early, but the balloon come out.
Yeah, I guess like you in like perfect information games, you have you know that you're ahead on unit count and you know exactly how to punish because you'll know where your opponent doesn't have units because they have less units, I guess. But here, you could have like all your units very densely in one area and still surprise your opponent even though you're down in unit count. So there is that aspect to it. I will say that having less units in fog can also be more of a detriment in a way because extra units do more for you. They also like give you vision. They can keep like an eye on corners and stuff like that. So there's ups and downs to it, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, having more stuff is generally always better, so.
Yeah.
You see this sword is going to go down. I imagine we're going to see a sword cut onto this village just to get it ready to be taken next turn.
Yep. And feels like Derrick has been doing this every game we've watched of them on this map.
Yeah, I mean, imagine. Well, I imagine that you play it a bunch of like solo games on a map, right? Or even just one, just to like learn the opening. And then once you realize like what is completely safe, because your opponent is rarely going to go for some kind of like very risky gambit where they throw like their commander into your commander early just for the sake of like throwing you off, because it's just far too big a detriment to their own economy to do so.
Yep. Ooh, very aggressive knight. I think there might be a spear over there, if I remember correctly. Oh, actually, no, no swords to capture that village, so Zawan might have to spend one more turn over there. That's unfortunate. And yeah, spear crits on the knight.
I think sword crits coming out. Actually, that didn't even need to be a sword crit, I think. But this doesn't matter. Like, Tenri can do this in a different order. Also, Tenri not going to capture either of these villages this turn. But I think...
Although Tenri does have swords to do that for her. And ooh, that's a lot of units. Yeah. Derrick waited for the spear count to build up before fighting off the army pushing on his stronghold. And like Marco doesn't know that Tenri is like basically alone in that corner, so can't really punish at the moment. Yeah, it looks like Zawan is not gonna capture. That's because capturing with the commander there is just a too low of a tempo move.
Oh, and they don't actually have enough vision to know if it's safe to pick off a balloon with the witch.
And I believe it is not. There was a mage, and Derrick should know about it.
Oh, there's also a witch. So.
And
oh, is this going to be another surround? It might very
yeah,
well be.
that looks like Zawan's in trouble.
Yeah. Oh,
The
actually,
closest units are really far away.
and yeah, like this could even be followed up by a mage heal. These dogs, especially the dog on the right, is going to be very tanky. I think Derrick just, drops a heal. Gets another dog ready to follow up.
There's two other dogs ready to follow up.
I think we're going to see... Something I've noticed is this pattern of you have this commander in this kind of like left position that's getting surrounded, and their groove just does not allow them to interact with things right next to them.
Should have been playing Ryota, what can I say?
Ryota on Fog is actually really good. I think it's actually a very, very strong option. Oh, there's just not quite enough damage here. Dog lives on 2%.
Yeah, 2%. There's also not enough for return lethal of any kind.
I guess like you go for just a tier 1. I guess if it was tier 2 he could have potentially killed a lot of the stuff around, but just drops another mage heal. Just like, I'm just
here you kind of cut access to the left side for anything but that dog, so it's not bad. It's just, not enough.
Yeah, and even a witch hex to follow up. I think, maybe the plains defense? Nope, never mind.
No.
Goes down to the full health dog crit, and yeah, Derrick gonna take another game on Fog. I guess spoiler alert for people who are watching this one first, but Derrick is very, very good at this game. Is something I'm noticing. Has a very solid game plan on this map in particular.
They're playing Fog in particular very well. Like they have these units like stacking up, not getting revealed until they can get value, and when they do, like they can get some commander surrounds and pretty good kills all in general.
Yeah, and something I said earlier, like losing one unit in Fog isn't the worst thing in the world. The information that Maps got on turn 5, I think it was, when they threw their sword forwards, there was always going to be very limited information then, so maybe that wasn't the best time to go for that. And that's something to kind of think about as you go forward, is, or as everybody goes forward, is if you just move one unit at a turn where you're going to get very low amount of information, losing that unit is like a big deal.
Yeah,
As
and I
more
think
unit,
maybe like respecting the commander more early on, perhaps, because like the commander is gonna be in that area, and you kind of can tell because they start decapping your villages, so you have that information for free.
and I guess like the other thing as well is that when you lose one unit, it's not the end of the world, but when more units start to fall as well, that just means that you're like that one extra unit further behind when you start losing a fight too. So I don't know if having that extra sword would have made the difference, but it's just another factor to keep in mind. And also another thing as well, Derrick's playing a commander that's very safe, which is something interesting on this map. Tenri is able to get out of surrounds with Groove if needed. That is an option, whereas other commanders we're seeing fall into traps on this map are commanders which
are more susceptible to traps as well.
yeah, they just can't interact with things right next to them. So we're seeing Nuru, Zawan, commanders that actually do have like really cool plays on in fog, but you can't overextend them because if you do, they have no way of getting out. Whereas like
Yeah,
a
and
Tenri would allow for that.
it's pretty interesting because in like perfect information games, these commanders like Nuru Zawan are considered like pretty safe commanders because they don't require you to walk up to the enemy to use groove. But I guess in fog, like that's not the only factor of safety.
Yeah. So yeah, very interesting games we're seeing today, and we're learning a lot about fog and fog meta and this map. So I'm enjoying it. It's good, but we're gonna go on to the next one.